Hello and welcome to another episode of Consumer Guide for Normal People. I'm Simon and I'm joined today, as always, by the One Roof Financial team, Caroline and Lucy. And today we are super excited because we're talking about a topic that has nothing to do with us, with finance. And it's one of the hot topics in our office. It's one of our favourite subjects, and it isn't work, it is holidays. And to help us through this topic, we have a local agent, Mr. Paul Moss from the Holiday Lounge. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. How are we? All good?
Yeah, very good, thank you. We're going to pass over to Caroline for the questioning.
Oh, thank you so much. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you very much, Caroline.
I am so excited to be talking about such a fun subject today. So did you want to start off by telling our listeners and viewers a bit more about you, history of Holiday Lounge and how you come to be?
Of course, no problem at all. Good morning, everybody. My name's Paul Moss, and I'm the Managing Director of Holiday Lounge. We have got 4 branches of an independent travel agency. We've been trading for 17 years. We have offices based in Hinckley, Lutterworth, Burbage and Birstall, so all in Leicestershire. And basically we trade 6 days a week, and we're completely independent. We have the backing of Mid-Counties Cooperative, which gives us the buying power to compete with any of the multiples out there. As we're totally independent, we can arrange, we're not tied to any tour operator, any cruise line, so we will try and provide the holiday that our clients want. So it's not as if we're directionally selling. We have a wide range and scope of cruise companies, mainstream tour operators, and a lot of independent tour operators as well that will give us that scope to go and look for that perfect holiday for yourselves.
That's brilliant, Paul. Thank you for that information. So also, of course, with holidays at the minute, one of the big topics is COVID and how it sort of affected the industry. So I found off a source called Statista that staycation web searches went up 511% during the COVID period. And how has it sort of affected the industry, would you say?
The industry has been massively effective, and we appreciate that every business through COVID has been affected, from hospitality, but travel is probably one of the worst that's been affected because it was the first business to actually go down, and then it's probably one of the last ones to actually come back, and it's going to take a few years for the business to return. We've been very lucky because we've got a great team of people working at Holiday Lounge, all fully experienced, and whereas a lot of companies were able to close down through COVID, we were actually still working from home or on site, and our staff had to be there 24/7 to actually make a lot of changes, hundreds of thousands of changes on people's bookings, and basically that has been testament to the staff. We've been able to get each booking that we had, change destination, change dates, and some bookings have actually been changed 7 times. So it's massive. It's not just once, not twice. So our staff have been there throughout to help our clients through the decision of changing their holiday instead of just cancelling it. So it's been a long drawn out process. But we're still there and still survived. So that's a big testament to all of our staff.
Perfect. And when we were booking our holiday with you, I distinctly remember you were on the phone trying to work out where a flight was going to land because it was randomly not going to go direct anymore. So it's affected everything. It's affected the flights and where they stop, and because you said that they probably would have to stop and pick up other passengers at other airports.
Yeah, so as we're returning through the COVID situation, operators are still airlines are still trying to operate as lean machine as they can with the flights, but when there's only 30-40 people booked onto a flight, they can't actually, it's not commercially viable to actually fly from here to whether it be Tenerife or Cyprus or Greece. So what they've been doing is doing double drop flights. So if your flight, say, is from Birmingham to Malaga, for instance, they may drop off people in Alicante as well, so it's a double flight. So it's just basically, it is a little bit of an inconvenience, but at least you'll get into the destination eventually, and that's probably an extra hour's add-on or something like that. But at least you're still going from your local airport, East Midlands, Birmingham, but still flying down to that destination.
And as long as the flight have got plenty of wine and beer, I don't suppose anybody minds.
Just for you, Caroline.
I'm obsessed with buying things from the hostesses. I had a client who worked for an airline, and they actually earned most of their money from being able to sell stuff on board. So I must support the air stewardesses and the stewards.
So that's why you were drinking so much.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with a drink on the plane.
Exactly.
You don't even have to wear your mask while you're eating and drinking either.
Well, that's why I will not have to wear my mask for my entire flight, because I'm going to have the Prosecco here.
On your lips.
Whatever will keep you quiet.
So I'm going to be fast asleep, and I'll just be drinking the whole time.
But that's also a testament to yourselves as well. By using you as a local independent, you are one port call. Yeah. I ain't going to be ringing up a larger company and be sat in a call queue waiting for hours to try and talk to someone to figure something out what's happening. I can ring you.
This is one big thing, Simon, is that all the way through our staff have been there at the end of the phone. And if you'd booked a holiday in our Hinckley office, you could call that office and you would speak to somebody from that office, and the call would be normally answered within 5 or 6 rings. We at the beginning of the pandemic, we were under the cosh a lot, but we actually got back to our customers, gave them a turnaround time of what we anticipate to get back to them, but you weren't on hold trying to get through to somebody for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. Some of the big airlines, some of the big cruise companies were really struggling on demand and staffing, and it was hard all the way through that for everybody. But I've always said, when things go wrong, it's how we put things right. And hand on heart is, I think we've dealt with the pandemic in a very professional way, and we've addressed our clients' issues and problems throughout. And it is, being independent, you can actually have your finger on that button and, make things happen immediately instead of being a big machine, shall we say.
Yeah, that's great. Which also then leads us on to the next topic. With obviously COVID and everything else, there's been obviously a lot of news out there about people having to have the holidays cancelled and postponed and so on. So there's always a little couple of letters at the end of certain advertising, ATOL and ABTA. What are they?
So ABTA is Association of British Travel Agents. So it means that you are dealing with a very reputable company. We have to be bonded for that, and we have a customer service level that we have to keep, and it's code of conduct that we have to abide by.
Okay.
So if you have a problem on your holiday, or if you have a problem with one of our staff that's missold you something, then you can report us to ABTA. I'm pleased to say in 17 years, we've never been reported to ABTA.
Fantastic.
So it's good. ATOL is slightly different, and that's a government scheme operated by the CAA, and it's basically guarantees if you book a holiday that's ATOL protected, that your money is fully financially protected. You need to be careful with some companies online; it can be a little bit misleading, but realistically, if you book a package holiday through ourselves, that includes your flights, your transfers, your accommodation, and your food to whatever you booked, then that money is fully financially protected. Every tour operator, every cruise line that we deal with is fully ATOL protected. So if God forbid we cease trading, or whether the tour operator cease trading, you would get your money back.
Okay.
The other benefit as well is if you're actually out in resort, I'm talking with my hands.
It's fine. It's fine.
Just realised I'm good. So basically, if you're actually on holiday, and your tour operator ceases to trade, then you'll be flown home at no cost to yourself.
Okay.
So that's the big benefit.
So just demystify this. So some people will think then that they don't need travel insurance. So, I've got this ATOL certificate, I'm all safe, so I don't need travel insurance. So
ATOL covers you the money for your holiday. It does not cover any of your personal belongings. It does not cover your medical. Okay, and that is the big thing. Okay, and before we came on air, we had a little conversation, and this is a pure situation that happened to one of my friends, and they were due to go out to Mexico, they basically weren't taking insurance. They were frog marched down to the post office 2 days before, and then took the insurance out. And 3 days into their holiday, they had a triple heart bypass in Mexico, which was to the tune of £84,000. So if they hadn't got insurance, they would have been remortgaging their house. So what you don't know what's around the corner, and you only know how good in travel insurance is until you need it. And my advice is, please don't go for the cheapest, because there are some basic policies out there. Go for a decent policy. You'll only know how good your policy is until you need it, but please do not travel without travel insurance.
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic. And from the gov.uk website, they found that only 12% of travellers read all of their insurance documents. So obviously, if they get the cheapest, then they don't actually know what they're covered for because they haven't looked into it possibly. 24% of people going on holiday abroad are uninsured completely. So 1 in 4 people nearly don't have any travel insurance. And 48% of people don't realise that without travel insurance, they'd be liable to pay their own medical bills abroad. So for Paul's example, his client would have had to pay the 84,000 because he had no travel insurance, but of course he luckily did. So it really can be a really important thing to have.
Okay. Right, so back on travel insurance, you talked about different grades. Mm-hmm. So you said don't go for the cheapest. Now, is there a massive price difference between, your bog standard, your intermediate, or your top range?
To give you, at Holiday Lounge, we will only sell the deluxe policy because we know that basically it's a very good cover.
Yeah.
From the basic cover for 7 days in the Med, anywhere in the Med.
Yeah.
On a standard policy for somebody aged between 25 and 65, is around about £15-16 for the basic policy. The deluxe policy, which covers COVID, and that's a big thing at the moment, you need to make sure that your insurance policy covers COVID. That cost for the deluxe policy is £25. So it's around about £9 difference. But that £9 is probably the best £9 you would ever spend.
Yeah.
Because if you contract COVID prior to you going on holiday, if you cancel, if you won't be allowed to travel, then basically you would end up cancelling that holiday and you'd lose all of the money to the tour operator. Yeah, because the cancellation charges would be 100%. If you've got travel insurance that covers COVID, which yours hopefully does. So basically, then that means if you cancel and you can't travel, you'll be able to claim all of your money back from your travel insurance company.
Yeah.
The other big benefit is if you take poorly whilst you're away due to COVID, then the insurance company should cover all of the costs whilst you're over there.
Yeah. And one big thing to point out is with regards to the COVID cover, if you just decide you don't want to travel because you are scared of COVID, that isn't covered. No. So when we're talking about COVID cover, it's if you test positive and cannot travel, that is covered. But if you choose not to travel, then that is not covered.
Correct. Yeah. And also, as I said, when you're away on holiday and you contract COVID, then the scenario you've got is you either have to self-isolate in your hotel bedroom, which means that you're going to have to pay for that, and you'll have to pay for your flight home. Well, if you've got it in your insurance policy, it's all paid for. It's all done.
Fantastic. That's brilliant.
So get insured for your holiday.
Yeah, definitely. Also, going off topic a little bit here, when we were in your shop booking a holiday not so long ago, we were talking about different destinations, and you said one was on one list, the green list, and then one wasn't on another list. Can you just remind me of what that was?
Thanks, Simon, for putting me on the spot there because things changed yesterday.
Oh, did it? Sorry.
So basically, the government have been changing things on a very regular basis, and it's very difficult for us to keep up. But we did have the traffic light system, which was if it was on red, you do not travel to that destination, or if you did travel, you would have to self-isolate in a government hotel 10 days when you come home at a cost of about £1,500 per person. So you weren't going to go anywhere there. The amber destinations basically are you could fly there, but you'd have to test when you come back. And then the green destinations, fly there, no testing, and come back, and you just have to test on day 2. That's all changed now as of yesterday. And it's all going to change again at the end of this month. So the testing is being reduced massively, which is great because customer confidence is actually growing. we now have a red and a green list, which is great. Okay, so if you're on the green list, you can fly out there. You still need to make sure the destination you're travelling to, although the government have put them on our green list, we may not be on the green list on, say, for Portugal or Croatia, because you still need to do a PCR test to get into that country as it stands today. That may change in the next few days. Up until the end of October, now we don't have to test prior to coming back into the UK, but you need to do a test on day 2, a PCR test still on day 2 when you come back into the UK, which you need to pre-order from various suppliers, which we again, at Holiday Lounge, we will do all of that ordering of that test for you, and all the passenger locator forms that you need to fill into each country as well. So you need to be a little bit wary of what you need to get into each country, and what you need to do when you come back into the UK. But it is reduced an awful lot and being a lot more relaxed. As of the beginning of November, we hear that, and again, another positive is that you won't be able to do a PCR test when you come back into the UK. You just need to do a lateral flow. But we're just waiting for a little bit of clarity on that from the UK government, and they are changing things.
I suppose it's ever-changing situation, isn't it? Ever-changing.
Yeah, definitely. So, but again, there's a lot of information you can get off the DirectGov website that everybody can get onto, and that's what we use, and it is very up to date. And say, each destination that you're going to, although you may be on the green list in the UK, you can fly there. You may need to do a PCR test to get into that country.
Fantastic. And so this is another reason why obviously we need to be looking at using an independent travel agent like yourselves. It's that local knowledge, and obviously you've got a bit more flexibility in the use of providers that you can obviously use tour operators with. So what's the main difference between obviously using someone like yourself, independent, compared to one of the mainline providers?
No disrespect to anybody what they do, because let's go back to Thomas Cook, absolutely fantastic company, ceased trading 3 years ago, and it just, unfortunately, the machine got a little bit too big, and they lost direction, and unfortunately, the shops unfortunately could only sell their products mainly. So whereas ourselves, if you choose a hotel, whether it be in the Caribbean or whether it be in Cyprus, they don't just deal with one tour operator, they deal with lots of tour operators. So if you went into one of the multiples, they will try and sell you their own product. Although there's another 15, 20 tour operators that use that hotel, they would only try and push their one tour operator. So whereas ourselves, if we get somebody comes in requesting a certain hotel, we will go and check numerous different suppliers for them and see which works out for the best flight times, best accommodation, best rooms, and obviously the best price. So we're just not we're not aligned to one operator. We can literally sell what the customer wants, and sell them the right product. So
yeah, and also you also have your own specialisms. Specialism, is that the right word? For obviously different types of holidays. So for yourself, it's
because we're independent, we do an awful lot of cruise. We do a tremendous amount of cruising, and again, there's so many products, and you need to be able to sell the right product to the client, because you might have a family wanting to go on a cruise for the first time, and you really wouldn't want to be selling them certain products because they're more adult focused. Without mentioning too many names, but if you sell a family cruise, you put them on a Royal Caribbean ship. It's got all the fun, it's got the slides, it's got the zip wires, it's got everything on board for them. Whereas if you put them on other ships, there's nothing there. So if you sell a client the wrong product, then they're not going to be booking with you again. So ideally, we've got people who are trained in cruise. I've got 2 staff that in our Hinckley branch that are specifically cruise specialists. In our Lutterworth branch, we've got people who are trained for Australia, New Zealand. So, we can give them the right information accordingly.
Okay, so it's more tailored to that person instead of that one-stop thing where you can say, you can go to this one. As you can say someone in their mid-age thing, you can, maybe a bit quieter boat, young family, lots of activities and train. So it's getting to know your customers and...
Yeah, I mean, there's certain ships out there as well that are adults only. So, I've got some older clients, they're like, they want to go away in July, and there's always hundreds of kids going in July.
Yeah.
But they don't want to go away with the kids, so they're going on adults ownership. So it's knowing your products and knowing your client as well, and it's a bit of a balance. So yeah, it's all positive, and we've got so many tour operators that we can use for different different specialities. So if somebody comes in for Kenya, for instance, there's 2 or 3 operators that I know that we deal with. They're absolutely number one out there. They're superb, which, no disrespect, a multiple wouldn't even have heard of. Yeah, so it's giving that client that, you own that extra mile for your customer and giving them the right product.
I must say, Paul, you have booked us some absolutely beautiful holidays. Our honeymoon that you arranged for us, that was bespoke and tailor-made, because we wanted the Masai Mara, we wanted the safari element, but then we also wanted to go to an island, so we went to Zanzibar, and you organised absolutely everything. It was stunning, and you've booked us cruises, and we've been using you for absolutely years.
We will get you in that retreat, promise you.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. 4-page complaint letter, Caroline. Yeah, all right.
Well, and that's the thing. Sometimes I think people are scared of complaining whilst they're on their holiday. But if you wait until you come back and then moan to you about it, that's their holiday wasted. Where all you have to do is mention something in resort when you get there, and they put it right.
Well, we, as a customer point of view, is that for focus. This is how customer focused we are. Every client, whether they spend £500 or £25,000, we will always give them a welcome home call. Okay, and that can sometimes open a can of worms.
Yeah.
Because it's lovely to go, oh yeah, Mrs. Smith, you have a good time in Zanzibar or Kenya. We've had an amazing time, absolutely fantastic, blah blah blah, and you're keeping in touch with your customer. Okay. You then ring a customer and they've been, let's say, to Mallorca and they've had the worst holiday ever, and they're like, well, yeah, it's been shocking. This, that, and the other. The food wasn't very good. The rep wasn't blah blah blah. Okay, not a problem. Let's try and address it. Let's put that complaint letter in. Let's contact that tour operator and have that conversation and see how far we get. And again, it's then taking that complaint on board, addressing it with the tour operator, and hopefully you come to an agreement with the client. You've got them a bit of compensation. You've got a couple of nights free in a hotel if they go back there. So it's I always say to my staff, whether people have spent £500 and going basic or going 25 grand, we still need to have that conversation with that customer, and we ring everybody when they come back from the holiday, just to make sure they've had a good time. And if not, it's how you put it right.
Yeah, fantastic. I am still a big advocate for making a complaint whilst you're in resort. Definitely. Because Simon and I went on our first cruise and we thought, we don't want to be tied to the sitting we have, so we'll go for flexible dining. And it drove us nuts. Every day, it was like being in TGI Fridays, where you get your little buzzer and you just sit around the bar and you wait for your buzzer to go off to say that there's a table ready. And I thought, I'm not having this. I was just sick of, I was hungry, waiting for a table. I made a complaint.
Right. I did okay.
I'm like a gremlin. You have to feed me at certain times. But I made a complaint to the customer service desk, and they immediately swapped us to fixed dining, which I thought I would never want. I thought, I do not want a time to go for dinner. Actually, on a cruise, it was the best thing you could do, because all of the shows and the entertainment are all set for whether you're on early seating or late seating. So it transformed what was getting on my nerves, and it was a bit, this holiday's not very good, to being the absolute most amazing holiday. So I think it's definitely worth putting that forward to see if something can be done whilst you're there, so you can actually have a beautiful holiday.
Yeah, and that's why things are put in place, to be honest with you, because the cruise companies will know their products, and they work around it to make sure that you've got the experience that you've booked and paid for. So
yeah,
but I agree with you. If you have got a complaint on holiday, address it while you're there, because it's too late when you come back.
Yeah,
you might get 20 quid back or 50 quid back, but it's about having that experience that you've booked and paid for.
But also listen to your travel agent.
Well, there is that, definitely. Yeah. A bit surprised people, it goes in one ear and out the other, but that's what my wife says to me as well. Yeah. I can say that now.
It just sounded like such a good idea, having flexible dining. It just made it sound really really good. But actually, the reality of it is we kept missing all the shows.
Well, next time.
We always do 8 o'clock now. That's it. We're 8 o'clock sitting.
Second sitting.
Yeah, second sitting all the
Job
way.
Job done. Why not?
Yeah.
So thinking about where people go, Lucy, I know that you've been looking at what the top destinations are and where we all love to go.
Yes, exactly. So from a study by the Mirror Travel News, in summer 2019, the top 5 places, these I think are quite, this is what you would guess. So number 1 is Spain, then Turkey, then Greece, then the USA, and then Cyprus. So would you say, Paul, that that's quite accurate as to what sort of holidays you book quite a lot?
Yeah, I mean, Spain is always going to be probably the number 1 destination because it's easy to get to. It's fairly, not cheap, but at the end of the day, it's family orientated, and also the older people like going in the winter, for long stays and whatever. So yeah, you're about there. But the long haul destinations are coming back with a vengeance now, and the Maldives is absolutely not flying out at the moment. Really, really popular.
Is that because people think they're going to be underwater soon?
In 20 years' time. Yeah, that's the myth.
We said
That's
the exact
myth.
same thing. We said, maybe we ought to go to the Maldives before it disappears forever under the sea.
Yeah. I don't see it happening, but you never know. You never know. But again, it's down to price, and there's some fantastic deals out there for the Maldives. And I think last week, in the reports that I was getting, it was number 2. And when you compete Maldives against Spain, Canary Islands, it really is really, really popular.
And it's fascinating how coronavirus has really changed where people seem to be going on holiday. Maybe it's sort of I've never been here and I might not be here, so let's just go for it. So
people are spending a lot more money on their holidays. We're seeing now is like, instead of having that leading room, they're going up for a sea view or a junior suite. Some people, instead of going economy, they're going premium. So some people have been they haven't left the house for 18 months, 19 months. They've decorated the house, they bought a new car. What do we spend money on now? So hopefully we've suffered over the last 19 months, but people are spending more money on their holidays now, which is good for us.
Well, I think it's people wanting to get away, isn't it? Everyone's fed up of being in, looking out looking out the living room window.
Yeah.
I've got someone sat next to me who's been climbing up the walls trying to get away.
I don't blame you, Caroline. Definitely. No, I think it's the importance of a holiday is massive, and I don't think many of us appreciate how having time together away from work and just chilling, relaxing in a different environment is important for mental health as well. Lots of people have travelled in the UK this year. The UK put up their prices massively, and some were embarrassing, to be honest with you, and it was just rip off Britain. And I'm not just saying that being in the travel industry. I had a client who booked a house on the south coast, and normally it's £2,500 for a week. It was a cottage. It was lovely. £7,500.
Oh.
Yeah, same cottage. Absolutely ludicrous, and it's wrong. It's wrong for everybody. But now there's been a lot of cruises going around the UK. These staycations, which have been popular, but you could only go on them if you were double vaccinated. It was probably more aimed at the older, clientele. But no, realistically, getting away, we got away last September 2020 in the pandemic as a family, and it's the best thing we did. To get away from the news, the COVID situation, work, stress. Take yourself out of that scenario, and it's the best thing that you can do. There's a fact that we spoke about previously coming onto air. It's about COVID and aircrafts and the air turnaround in the aircraft. You've got less chance of getting COVID on an aircraft than what you have probably catching at one of the local supermarkets. And on heart, I think it was 0.1% chance of getting COVID on an aircraft. So, the UK weather's not guaranteed. Get on those planes and go and enjoy yourselves. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And just a study from Statista again, they found that in the United Kingdom in 2019, Brits were going on city breaks 46% of the holidays in the UK. Beach holidays were 41%. Countryside breaks are 23%, and all-inclusive holiday was only 18%. So possibly after, COVID, and we're able to get on the planes again now, I bet the all-inclusive holidays will be skyrocketing up to the top of that list. We're sick of the UK breaks now, aren't we?
I think people just want to get away and get back to some normality nowadays. And air travel is a safe way of travelling, and going back to the staycations on the cruises, the amount of work and behind the scenes that the cruise companies have done, the protocols that they've put in place to make cruises a lot safer are phenomenal. And just to give you an idea on how safe they are at the moment, is that I had a client who caught a coach from Leicester down. It was a cruise operator coach down to the port of Southampton. They had a test before they got on the ship. That was all done complimentary by the cruise company. These clients tested negative, were allowed on the ship, went on, unpacked in their cabin, had dinner, and then these names were called to the front office. And there's probably 24 people standing there, and they said, unfortunately, somebody who you came down on the coach with tested positive, so we're taking everybody who's on that coach off, and unfortunately you can't go on your cruise. So the cruise companies are being extra vigilant and being really cautious on who boards cruise ships. So you've got to be double vaccinated before you get on. You have a test before you get on that has to be negative. And realistically, it just shows you that they are really meaning business to keep things rolling forward.
Who paid for the transfer back for those passengers?
The cruise company actually bought everybody a private taxi and sent
wow.
them back home.
Right.
Free of charge.
Whilst they were all crying
Whilst
because
we're
they
all
couldn't get to go on
Yeah.
holiday.
But would you believe my client said, you know what, if that was us and we know where you're coming from, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the tour operators, the cruise companies are really, trying to do everything they can to keep things moving safely as possible in the difficult times. So, but it's getting there. But the cruise companies are being paramount on safety.
I mean, I always felt cruises were incredibly clean and safe anyway, because even before COVID existed, when Simon and I have cruised before, you always had to hand sanitize when you got on board. Yeah. They were always kind of on the dock with the towels and, so you can get cleaned up, and they were constantly cleaning. I mean, every handrail pretty much we saw being cleaned daily, didn't we?
Oh, more than daily.
And it's just such a shame that then COVID came in, because yes, you are in more confined spaces at dining and when you go to the theatre and stuff like that. But as a whole, cruises are always so clean, and that is one of our favourite holidays. Well, certainly mine. I don't know if Simon agrees.
I'll just get dragged along.
So you get a choice on?
I don't know. No.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for cruises. A lot of people I talk to say, are they not for old people? They really aren't.
But it depends on which ship you go on. So
exactly.
You sell the product to your client, and if you get the wrong product to your client, then they won't be booking with you again. Staff are well trained, and they've been to a lot of destinations. So you may find a holiday on the internet, nothing wrong with that, but all of our staff can actually find you your personal recommendations. They've been out to different hotels and literally experienced them firsthand, so they may be able to give you that perfect first-hand knowledge of where you should be going, and different hotels and different destinations. So if you need any assistance, please give us a try, or try your local independent agent, because we're there to support the local community as well.
Yeah, and I must say as well, your Facebook page, it's one of my favourite posts in my news feed, because the photographs, they're so dreamy with the gorgeous blue water and the beaches. So I would definitely say pop over to the Holiday Lounge Facebook page, give them a follow. They have some incredible ideas, offers. They tell you all about the latest things that might be available, and we've booked a couple of holidays purely based on one of your Facebook posts. Yeah. Santorini. Oh,
don't tell everyone my secrets. I don't want half of Hinckley there when I get there.
Well, I know that's what we were thinking. How many other people in Hinckley have seen this and have booked the same hotel? But yeah, I would say definitely pop and give it a follow, because seeing that sunshine, it just makes you happy.
Of course it does. That's what we're all about, making dreams come true.
Yes, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So that's all we've got time for today. Thank you very much, Paul, for your insight on the travel industry. Paul's contact details will be in the episode guide. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again soon.